Let me tell you something from my heart. My name is Ariel, and this is my channel, Bookish English. When I started learning English, I was not afraid of words. I was afraid of grammar. Grammar looked like a big mountain. It had many rules, many tenses, many strange names. I felt lost. I felt like grammar was a monster chasing me. Every time I opened a grammar book, I wanted to close my eyes and sleep. I thought maybe grammar was only for smart people. Maybe not for me. But inside my heart, I wanted to win. I wanted to speak English without fear. I wanted to understand the language deeply. I wanted grammar to help me, not scare me. And one day, something changed. It was not a big change. It was very small. But that small step became the start of a big journey. A journey that made grammar my friend. A journey that gave me confidence. Today, I will tell you that story, step by step. Maybe it will help you. Maybe it will make you smile. Maybe it will give you hope, just like it gave me hope. I remember my school days clearly. My teacher always said, "Grammar is important. You must learn grammar." She gave us many rules: past perfect, future continuous, passive voice. Big names, big words. I tried to memorize them all before exams, but after the exam, everything disappeared from my head. The next day, I could not remember a single rule. I felt weak. I felt stupid. I thought maybe grammar was too difficult for me. Sometimes I even wanted to give up. But deep inside, I had a small dream. I wanted to speak good English. I wanted to use grammar without fear. I wanted to feel free when I talked. One day, I went to the library. I was not looking for grammar. I was looking for a storybook. But in one corner, I saw a man reading a grammar book, and he was smiling. I was shocked. I asked him, "Do you enjoy grammar?" He looked at me and said, "Yes, because I don't just study grammar. I play with it." His words surprised me. Play with grammar? I had never thought like that. He said he learned grammar with fun. He used examples, stories, and real life. Not only rules. That idea touched me. It was like a small light in my dark room. That night I went home and opened my grammar books. I looked at the big rules. I closed the book and smiled. Then I picked up a notebook. I wrote at the top, Day 1, Present Simple. I did not write 10 pages. I only wrote 5 small sentences about my life. I wake up. I eat breakfast. I go to school. I read books. I sleep at night. That was all. But it felt different. It felt easy. The next day, I tried past simple. I wrote, I woke up. I ate breakfast. I went to school. I read books. I slept at night. Again, very small sentences, but I was smiling. I could feel grammar slowly entering my life. It was not a monster anymore. It was a friend. After that, I made a habit. I spoke to myself in English. I asked myself, what did I do today? Then I answered in English. I went to the shop. I bought bread. I cooked food. I watched TV. I even used subtitles and repeated the lines. I copied the emotions. I felt like an actor. It was fun. Sometimes I wrote small stories, very simple stories, like, "Yesterday I visited my friend. We drank tea. We laughed. We talked about old memories." These stories were not perfect. They had mistakes. But I did not cry. I did not give up. I smiled at my mistakes because I understood something important. Every mistake is a small teacher. Mistakes were not my enemy. They were helping me grow. That thought gave me freedom. I did not need 10 hours a day. I did not need expensive classes. I only made one promise to myself. Learn one small thing every day. Just one. One grammar point. One example. One new sentence. And slowly, I became stronger. In 3 months, I could use tenses without fear. In 6 months, I started speaking better English. In 1 year, grammar was no longer scary. It was simple. It was normal. It was my friend. Then I moved to the next step. I learned about parts of speech. These are the building blocks of grammar. Nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections. At first, they looked hard, but I did not memorize them. I played with them. I made silly sentences, like, "Wow." The red cat jumped on the table and meowed loudly. In that one line, I used many parts of speech, and I laughed at my own examples. That made grammar fun. My dear friend, listen to me. Grammar is not only for exams. Grammar is for life. Grammar is not about fear. Grammar is about expression. Start simple. Use the present tense. Talk about your day. I eat rice. I read a book. I watch TV, then try past tense. I ate rice. I read a book. I watch TV, then try future. I will eat rice. I will read a book. I will watch TVC. Step by step, grammar becomes easy. And let me tell you something true. Even now, I make mistakes. Yes, I still do. But I don't run away. I don't hide. I smile and learn. Because grammar is my friend. Grammar gives me power. Grammar helps me share my thoughts. And if I, Ariel, a simple learner who was once scared of grammar, can master it, then you can too. Yes, you. Just take one small step today, then take another step tomorrow, and keep going. One day, someone will ask you, "How did you master English grammar?" And you will smile and say, "Let me tell you a story." So after that first year, I felt different. I was no longer afraid of grammar. I started to enjoy it. Every new rule was not a problem anymore. It was like opening a new gift. I felt excited when I discovered how words connect, how tenses change, how sentences grow. But still, I knew one thing. If I wanted to truly master English grammar, I could not just stop. I had to keep going. Grammar was like a garden. If I stopped caring for it, the plants would dry. So every day I gave my grammar garden some water. Some days it was only 5 minutes, some days it was longer, but I never left it dry. That daily care made my grammar roots grow strong. Slowly, I moved to more complex parts of grammar. I learned about conditionals. At first, I was scared again. If sentences, would sentences, could sentences, should sentences, it felt too much. But I remembered my method. one small step at a time. So I started with simple ones. If I eat, I feel happy. If I study, I learn. If it rains, I stay home. Easy sentences. Next day, I tried past. If I ate, I felt full. If I studied, I learned. Slowly, I built it. Then I tried future. If I study tomorrow, I will pass. If I wake up early, I will catch the bus. It was not magic. It was practice. And slowly, conditionals became my friends too. One very powerful trick helped me. I used grammar to tell my own life story. Instead of reading examples from books, I made examples from my real life. Like, if I don't study grammar, I will not improve. That was my truth. Or, if I practice grammar every day, I will grow confident. That sentence gave me motivation, and every time I spoke those sentences, I felt the meaning. Grammar was no longer cold rules. It was alive. It was me. It was my story. That is why I started enjoying even the difficult parts, like passive voice. I used to think passive voice was impossible. Too many changes, too many rules. But again, I used my method. Small, real sentences. I eat an apple. Active. An apple is eaten by me. Passive. I read a book. Active. A book is read by me. Passive. Then I used my daily life. I cooked dinner. Active. Dinner was cooked by me. Passive. I laughed when I said it because in my culture we don't usually speak like that. But it made me understand the structure. And once I understood, I smiled. The monster was gone. The rule became simple. There was another secret I discovered. Speaking grammar is more important than just writing it. In the beginning, I only wrote sentences, but then I started saying them aloud. My tongue felt heavy at first. It made mistakes, but with practice it became lighter. My mouth started moving easily. I realized grammar is not only for the mind, it is also for the mouth. You must feel the sentences. You must taste the words. That is why I often stood in front of a mirror and spoke. I said, I am learning grammar. I was learning grammar. I will learn grammar over and over. My reflection smiled back at me. I was teaching myself like a teacher, and I was the student too. As time passed, people started noticing my progress. My friends said, Ariel, your English is getting better. My teacher said, you are speaking more correctly. I felt proud, but inside I knew the truth. It was not talent. It was not luck. It was one small step every day. That is all. Grammar is not mastered in one night. It grows slowly, like a tree. And one day you wake up and see the tree is tall and full of fruit. That is how it felt. But my journey was not always smooth. Sometimes I got lazy. Some days I skipped practice. Sometimes I even thought, maybe I know enough. I can stop now. But then I made mistakes while speaking. I said wrong tenses. I used wrong words, and I felt embarrassed. But I did not let shame stop me. I told myself, mistakes are not the end. They are the signal. They show me where to improve. So instead of crying, I smiled and learned. That attitude made me strong. I also learned the magic of connecting grammar with listening. I watched English movies with subtitles. When an actor said, "I will call you tomorrow," I repeated it. I said it in the same way. Then I tried changing it. "I called you yesterday. I call you every day." One line became 3 tenses. One small movie line became a grammar lesson. That made learning natural. It was no longer boring. It was alive. It was fun. And slowly, my ears started to understand grammar too. When someone spoke wrong grammar, my ear could hear it. I felt the difference. That was progress. Another thing that helped me was reading children's books. Yes, children's books. They are simple. They have clear grammar, short sentences, easy words. When I read them, I saw grammar in action. For example, a story said, "The boy runs. The boy played. The boy will play." That was grammar right there, inside a story. I didn't need to memorize rules. I just read and felt the sentences. And later, when I spoke, those sentences came back to me like magic. Slowly, I built a system for myself. Step 1. Write 5 sentences about my life every day. Step 2. Speak those sentences aloud. Step 3. Listen and repeat lines from movies or shows. Step 4. Read simple books and notice grammar inside them. Step 5. Smile at mistakes and learn from them. This system was simple, but it worked. Day by day, I grew stronger. And then came the moment I realized something big. Grammar is not the goal. Grammar is the tool. The goal is expression. The goal is communication. Grammar is not a cage. Grammar is the wings. Without grammar, my words would fall. With grammar, my words could fly. That day, I looked back and smiled. The boy who once hated grammar had now become friends with it. The boy who once felt small now felt strong. And that boy was me. So after I learned this big truth, my journey with grammar became lighter. I stopped fighting with rules. I started dancing with them. Yes, dancing. Grammar was no longer heavy. It was like music. Every tense was like a rhythm. Present tense was like a soft song, calm and simple. Past tense was like an old melody full of memory. Future tense was like a bright tune, full of hope. When I thought this way, grammar became fun. I no longer asked, "Why so many rules?" Instead, I asked, "How can I play with them today?" That small change in my mind gave me so much power. I remember one moment clearly. I was sitting in my room, writing in my notebook. I wrote, "I am happy." Then I changed it. "I was happy." Then again, "I will be happy." Suddenly, I realized this one small sentence could show my whole life, past, present, and future. I felt amazed. Grammar was not just about rules. It was about time, about feelings, about life itself. And I smiled. For the first time, grammar touched my heart. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to master more parts. I learned about articles, a, an, and the. At first, they confused me. Why a book, but the book? Why an apple, but not a apple? I felt lost again. but I reminded myself of my method. One step, one example, one day. I told myself, I want an apple. I eat an apple. I eat the apple. Slowly, I saw the difference. A and an are for something new. The is for something known. It was simple once I used real examples. Now when I speak, I use articles without fear. Then came prepositions. Oh, those little words. In, on, at, by, for, since, until. They looked so small, but they had so much power. I always used them wrong. I said, I am in the bus instead of on the bus, or I will meet you in Monday instead of on Monday. I made many mistakes, but again, I did not give up. I started watching how native speakers used them. I copied. I wrote my own lines. I am on the bus. I am in the room. I will meet you on Monday. I made it fun by drawing small pictures. I drew a stick man on a chair, in a room, at a table, and I wrote sentences for each. It was like a game. Slowly, prepositions became easier. Another big step for me was learning about conjunctions. Words like and, but, because, so. These words joined sentences together. At first, I spoke very short lines. I eat rice. I drink tea. I sleep early. Then I added conjunctions. I eat rice and I drink tea. I sleep early because I am tired. My sentences became longer. They became more natural. I felt proud. I was not only learning grammar, I was building bridges. Conjunctions were bridges between my ideas. There were also adjectives and adverbs. They made my sentences colorful. The boy runs was simple, but the tall boy runs quickly was rich. I started to play with these words. I looked around my room and described things. The red book is on the big table. The small clock ticks loudly. These simple exercises made grammar alive around me. It was not just in books. It was in my room, my street, my daily life. Grammar was everywhere if I chose to see it. Still, sometimes I felt slow. Sometimes I thought, why am I not perfect yet? But then I reminded myself, perfection is not the goal. Progress is the goal. Every day I was better than yesterday. That was enough. That kept me going. One special trick that helped me was teaching grammar to others. I started sharing what I learned with my friends. I explained tenses. I gave them small examples. And while teaching them, I became stronger. Because when you teach, you learn twice. That is why I started this channel, Bookish English. I wanted to share my journey. I wanted to tell learners, don't be afraid. Grammar is not your enemy. Every video I make is not just for my viewers. It is also for me. Every time I explain something, my own grammar grows deeper. And let me tell you something important. Mastering grammar is not about big words. It is about small sentences used every day. I never tried to show off. I never tried to use the longest words. I only tried to be clear. I only tried to be correct. And that made my English strong. Over time, I started to enjoy even the hardest parts. Reported speech, relative clauses, modal verbs, things that once looked impossible slowly became easy. I used the same method: small steps, real examples, daily practice. No rush, no fear. Just play, repeat, and learn. One day, I looked back at my old notebooks. I saw my first sentences. I wake up. I eat breakfast. I sleep at 10 p.m. Simple, short, almost like a child. Then I saw my new sentences. If I had studied harder yesterday, I would have finished my homework earlier. Long, complex, but still clear. I smiled. That was progress. That was proof. I had grown. So, my dear friend, if you are listening to me now, remember this. Grammar is not about memorizing hundreds of rules. Grammar is about using language to tell your life. Grammar is about turning your thoughts into words. Don't fear it. Don't run from it. Make it your friend. Step by step, word by word, day by day, you will master it. And one day, you will look back and smile, just like I did. So after I reached this stage, grammar was no longer a mountain for me. It was a road, and I was walking on it step by step. Some days the road was smooth. Some days it had small stones, but I kept moving forward. That was the secret. I did not stop. I did not run away. I walked with patience, and slowly I discovered more parts of grammar that once scared me. One of them was modal verbs. Words like can, could, may, might, must, should, would. At first they felt like a puzzle. Why so many? What is the difference between I can do it and I could do it? Or between I must study and I should study? I felt lost. But again, I went back to my system. Small sentences, daily practice, real-life examples. I wrote, I can swim. I could swim when I was younger. I must study for my test. I should eat healthy food. I might go to the park tomorrow. I may call my friend. One by one, the pieces fit together. And soon I realized modal verbs were not a puzzle. They were tools. They helped me show possibility, ability, advice, necessity. They gave my sentences power. Then I moved to reported speech. I used to hate it. Changing I am happy to he said he was happy confused me. Why change tenses? Why move words around? It looked so difficult. But again, I reminded myself of my small step method. I started with simple ones. She said, I am tired. She said she was tired. He said, I will come tomorrow. Arrow. He said he would come the next day. Slowly, I began to see the pattern. And once I saw it, I felt good. It was no longer scary. It was just a way to tell what someone else said. I even practiced with my friends. If they told me something, I reported it back. Like, my friend said, I love pizza. I laughed and said, she said she loved pizza. It became fun. Relative clauses were another step. The boy who is running is my brother. At first, I forgot the who or that I made mistakes. But then I started to describe things around me. I looked at my phone and said, this is the phone that I use every day. I looked at my bag and said, this is the bag which my sister gave me. I looked at my friend and said, he is the boy who helps me. Every object around me became a grammar practice. Soon, relative clauses became normal. Step by step, I was unlocking grammar like keys opening doors. And each door showed me a new part of English. I was no longer afraid to make mistakes. Instead, I welcomed them. Mistakes became my small teachers. They showed me where to improve. Sometimes I laughed at my mistakes. One time I said, "I am boring," instead of, "I am bored." Everyone laughed, but instead of feeling ashamed, I learned the difference. I am boring means I make others bored. I am bored means I feel no interest. That mistake became my lesson. There was also a time when I doubted myself. I thought, I know so many rules, but do I really master grammar? I felt unsure. Then I realized something important. Mastering grammar is not about knowing all the rules. It is about using them in real life without fear. It is about speaking naturally, writing clearly, and understanding others. That day, I stopped chasing perfection. I started enjoying progress, and that made me free. I also learned the magic of mixing grammar with storytelling. I began to write small diary entries. Every night before sleeping, I wrote 5 sentences, sometimes in present tense, sometimes past, sometimes future. Sometimes I used conditionals, sometimes modal verbs. Without pressure, without fear, just practice. And over time, my diary became a mirror of my progress. When I read old pages, I saw my mistakes. When I read new pages, I saw my growth. That gave me confidence. One special moment was when I started teaching grammar on Bookish English. I made videos explaining tenses, articles, prepositions. At first, I was shy. I thought, what if I make mistakes? What if people laugh at me? But then I remembered my own journey. I remembered how grammar scared me. And I thought, if I can help one person feel less scared, it will be worth it. So I spoke from my heart. I used simple words. I gave real examples. And people wrote comments saying, "Ariel, you made grammar easy for me." That was my happiest moment, because I knew my struggle had meaning. My journey was not only for me, it was also for others. Over time, I saw grammar not as rules, but as patterns. Patterns in speech, patterns in writing, patterns in life. Grammar is everywhere. When I tell my story, I use grammar. When I write a message, I use grammar. When I dream in English, grammar is there. It became natural. It became part of me. I didn't need to think, which rule should I use? It just flowed. That is when I realized I had truly mastered it. But mastery did not mean the end. It meant a new beginning. Now grammar was my friend, my tool, my power. It gave me freedom to express myself. It gave me confidence to speak with anyone, anywhere. And the most beautiful thing is this: if I can do it, anyone can do it. You can do it. Yes, you. Don't let grammar scare you. Don't think it is only for smart people. Grammar is for everyone. Grammar is for you. All you need is small steps, daily practice, and a smile at your mistakes. That is the real secret. So after I reached that point, something new started inside me. I no longer studied grammar only for myself. I wanted to share it. I wanted others to feel the same freedom I felt. When grammar becomes your friend, your world opens. You can read more, you can write more, you can speak more. You feel strong. And I wanted everyone to feel that strength. That is why I kept practicing, but also teaching. Teaching helped me grow even more. When I explained a tense, I had to think clearly. When I gave an example, I had to make it simple. And every time I taught, my own grammar became deeper. It was like sharpening a knife. The more I used it, the sharper it became. I also discovered that grammar was not only about speaking and writing, it was also about thinking. When I thought in my own language, I often translated into English. But when I thought directly in English, grammar guided my mind. It was like a map. Present tense kept me in the now. Past tense took me back to memory. Future tense carried me forward to my dreams. Conditional sentences opened possibilities. Passive voice gave me new ways to see actions. Grammar was shaping not only my words, but my thoughts. And I realized this was the real mastery. Grammar was inside my head, not just on paper. Of course, I still faced hard parts. Phrasal verbs gave me trouble. Look up, look after, look forward to. So many meanings, so many uses. At first, I mixed them all, but then I made small stories. I look after my little brother. I look up words in the dictionary. I look forward to my birthday. These stories made phrasal verbs stick in my memory. And slowly, I used them naturally. Another tricky part was subject-verb agreement. I often forgot to add s in present tense. I said, he eat rice instead of he eats rice. But with practice, I corrected myself. I even made a small chant, he eats, she eats, it eats. Repeating it again and again fixed it in my mind. I also loved playing grammar games with myself. For example, I picked one verb and used it in all tenses. Take the verb run. I run. I am running. I ran. I was running. I have run. I had run. I will run. I will be running. It was like playing music with one note but many sounds. This exercise gave me confidence with tenses. I did it with many verbs: eat, go, write, play. And slowly, the tenses became part of me. Sometimes I tested myself by writing letters to an imaginary friend. I wrote one letter in present tense, another in past, another in future. It was fun. I even laughed at my own mistakes, and every time I grew stronger. Another trick I used was speaking aloud when walking alone. I described everything I saw. I am walking on the road. A dog is barking. A boy is running. Then I changed to past. I walked on the road. A dog barked. A boy ran. Then to future. I will walk on the road. A dog will bark. A boy will run. It was practice without books, without pens, just with life. And slowly, grammar started to live in me. It was no longer something I studied. It was something I used every moment. I noticed it in songs, in conversations, in news, in books. My ears caught the patterns. My tongue spoke them. My hand wrote them. And my heart enjoyed them. That is when I truly felt mastery. It was not about knowing everything. It was about feeling at home with grammar. One of my happiest moments was when a friend asked me, "How do you always speak so clearly? How do you use grammar so easily?" I smiled and said, "Because grammar is my friend. I don't fight with it. I play with it." My friend laughed, but I knew it was true. That was my journey. That was my secret. And now, through Bookish English, I share this secret with you. Not to show I am perfect. I am not. I still make mistakes. But I am free. Grammar no longer controls me. I control it. And that freedom is what I want for you too. So listen to me carefully. You don't need to be afraid of grammar. You don't need to run away from it. You don't need to think it is too big. It is not. It is small steps, one after another. It is practice, not pressure. It is play, not punishment. If you smile at your mistakes, if you write one sentence every day, if you speak aloud even when nobody listens, you will master it. Yes, you will. I promise. One day, you will look back at your own journey. You will remember when you were scared. You will remember when you wanted to give up. But you will also see how far you have come. And when someone asks you, "How did you master English grammar?" you will smile, and you will say, "Let me tell you a story." So now let me take you to the last part of my journey. When I first started, I thought grammar was only about rules. But in the end, I discovered that grammar was about people. It was about connection. Every sentence I made was a bridge. It carried my thoughts to another person. Without grammar, the bridge was broken. With grammar, the bridge was strong. That is why I say grammar is not only for exams. It is for life. It is for love. It is for friendship. It is for work. It is for dreams. It is for every small and big part of life. I also found that grammar gave me courage. In the past, I was shy to speak. I thought people would laugh at me. But when grammar became my friend, my fear started to go. I could stand up and speak in front of others. I could write messages without checking again and again. I could join groups and share my thoughts. This confidence changed everything. It was not about being perfect. It was about being brave. I realized people respect you not because you are perfect, but because you try, because you share, because you connect. And grammar gave me that key to connection. There were also times when I failed. I remember once I wrote an essay. I thought it was good. But the teacher marked many mistakes. I felt sad. I wanted to throw it away. But instead, I kept it. I read every mistake. I learned from every red mark. That essay became my teacher. Failure became my teacher. I understood something important. Mistakes are not the end. They are the beginning. Every mistake carries a lesson. And if you take that lesson, you move one step closer to mastery. I also practiced with music and movies. I listened carefully to the lyrics of songs. I noticed the grammar inside them. I am waiting. She has gone. They will be back. Songs became grammar lessons. Movies too. When actors spoke, I repeated after them. I copied their grammar, their rhythm, their style. At first it was hard, but slowly I became better. I started to sound natural, and it was fun. It did not feel like study. It felt like life. Reading also helped me. Every book I opened was a treasure of grammar. I saw how writers used sentences, short ones, long ones, simple ones, complex ones. I underlined phrases. I wrote them in my notebook. I used them in my own writing. I learned that grammar was not about making heavy rules. It was about making music with words. Writers showed me how grammar can dance, and I wanted to dance with it too. As time went by, grammar became my habit. I no longer thought about it. It just happened. Like walking, like breathing. My mind made sentences without effort. That was when I knew I had mastered grammar, not because I was perfect, but because it became natural. It became part of me. It was not outside anymore. It was inside me. I remember one day, a younger student came to me. He asked, "How can I learn grammar?" "It feels so hard." I told him my story. I told him, "Don't fight with grammar. Walk with it, play with it. Practice every day, but in small steps. Make it part of your life." He listened. He smiled, and I saw myself in him. I knew one day he would master it too, because mastery is not about talent. It is about time. It is about patience. It is about never giving up. And so here I am, sharing this with you. My story is not special. It is simple. But maybe it can help you. Maybe it can give you courage. Maybe it can remind you that you are not alone. Everyone struggles. Everyone makes mistakes. But everyone can grow. If I did it, you can do it too. That is the truth.
So when you sit with your notebook, when you open your book, when you try to speak, remember me. Remember my story. Remember that grammar is not a wall. It is a door, and every sentence you build is a step through that door. Keep walking, keep smiling, keep learning. And one day, you too will say with pride, "I mastered English grammar." That day will come. Believe me. Because grammar is not your enemy. Grammar is your friend. And when you walk with a friend, every step is lighter, every journey is brighter, and every dream is closer.